Hello everyone and welcome back to Pete's Model Car Customs. A bit of an update on several projects that are going on at the moment. Those parts sitting in the way are out of the Ford Bronco. But before I move on to everything, I'd really like to give a shout out to Mad Dog Merv for a shout out last week. Thank you very much, Merv. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. I also enjoy watching your channel for the variety of stuff you have on. All good. And I really did like the Sherman the other day. For those who haven't had the joy of watching Mad Dog Merv, he did a very nice Iwo Jima Sherman the other day. With a load of neat grills on it. And 125 Rods, oh, excuse me. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, and 125 Rods, who gave me a shout out in sort of passing the other day on his recent video. Another good channel. He's experimenting with a kind of flooring that looked quite good. So that's pretty good. And Gary Tank, guy who makes fantastic truck models. Really could do some with some support. I'll put in a link for all three of these in the description. But he posted a local beauty spot of his, a waterfall. A tremendous looking place. As long as he's one of the best truck builders I've seen, he really does build fantastic big rig models. But anyway, these parts here, I was just one thing I wanted to mention was these are just a few parts off of the Bronco. Two of them are mounted on the sprue as they came from the factory. And in fact, this is two parts. I need some light on that really. Joined together and left on the sprue from the factory. But the third one is the fan shroud. I've relocated that and cleaned it up and remounted it onto a sprue, and I find this helps a lot with parts that I can actually clean them up and then still have something to hold them by. Just remount them on the sprue. It's very rarely I can get away with this sort of thing with actually using a part in situ, without it needing so much more cleaning up afterwards. It wasn't worth painting on the sprue, like this wouldn't be. It's just nicer to clean it all up and evenly spray it. And like I say, remounted to give us a couple of clean areas to glue it to the next stage. Moving along with the Saddle Tramp Bronco, I did succeed in clearing out the grille. I haven't yet painted it in any further than a matte black base coat here. The main thing was getting out all those little squares and that. I can see along there. Actually, I'd like to change it a little bit more, clean it up a little bit more, and then probably dry brush it to get a metal finish. I'll have to have a look as the kit develops as to what I'm going to do with it. I'll plonk that in there. Also, the radiator was in two parts, so I glued it together but sanded off the filler cap and replaced that with a new one, and that was a shaped piece of sprue. Just give me the sort of notch shapes of the sort of where you take a radiator cap off, you're pressing it down in your fingers and that will lock against a sort of raised lip or bulge outside either of them. This was another thing. This is the kit part, and on one side I don't know whether these will show up, but it's absolutely covered in ejector marks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 ejector marks on this kit that he'd spent ages sanding down and then avoiding the battery mounting lip. And then on top of that, it is so twisted. You know, it'll probably distort the mounting of the car when it's fitted. So I've decided to use that as a template and make another one from quite thick card. That's a good millimetre thick, might be 1.25. But a nice thick piece of card. Use that as a template and copy it. And then I've still got a nice straight piece rather than this twisted sister. On other things that I wanted to try and do was, this is a Cougar seat. I haven't put a back on it yet. I'm quite sure these headrests were adjustable on a 2-pin stand. So I want to try and cut these off and redo them. But the other thing I wanted to do was, as these were so bold, I thought this should be tiltable. So I've now cleaned up this into tiltable. You can see both parts are drilled there and it's cut free from the lower part. And that was a matter of careful scalpel work and drilling through the arms before and through the lower part before final separation, so as if I don't break this going together. Alright, come back. I'll have this now with 2 holes you can't quite see there because they've clogged up. 2 holes in that part, one either side. Oh, there you go. Little hole in there, will that show? I can't quite see my own bloody screen. Come on, honky dory. Right, can you see the second one just over the back here? And then the 2 in each arm. So as that will go back together and pivot. But there are 2 clearance points so as it will fold forward. You need a bit of clearance on that all around the centre of it so as it will tilt. But it also should, for a degree, recline. I don't know yet. That's too fat. But it will get a tilt forward thing with a couple of pins back in through these holes. Probably won't last a lot of playing around with, but it does give you a more, you know, there's something else to play with, I suppose, really. Moving on to the main bodies. I've done quite a bit on both of them. On this one, I'm adapting the rear arches again a little bit, but I've set up for that sort of wheel size, as we're going for a couple of hot roddy things and using stock wheels at the front with some pad printed tyres. I've done another little simplified axle on the back of there and pack it up onto the leaf springs, and that's jacked up the back end. On the front, I've just temporarily bunged this axle in to give me the sort of a look at the stance of it. If I set that on a board sideways, it'll look something like that. which I hope will be an old-fashioned sort of 1980s, early 80s sort of build. Another handy thing here is this wheel is sticking out from there for a mile, right? I've used an overextended axle to put the wheel on the outside. If I wanted to mark out the radius of the rear arch, if you put a longer axle in, put the wheel you want to use on and slide it back towards the, I bet it won't bloody move because this is tight. Slide it back to your bodywork, then take your pen around the outside and it will give you the radius of that wheel arch. And you can cut it from the outside in. On this one, I've gone for another option, looking at the floors, and I've cut it out. I've cut the whole floor out, lowered it a little bit, and cut 2 troughs in the bottom cross member area so as that the floor panel will sit down lower. There's a bit of sanding and trimming like the other videos show. And I'm starting to work on my wide body thing a bit further. I've still got the windows to cut out, but I'm still using them to reinforce it. Things like cutting out the windows I'll leave quite late in the project, to give me greater stability in the whole load of sanding in and looking at whether it's symmetrical and all that sort of lark. At the front, I've got a different radiator, and this is lowered, as you can see, and I've got most of it all there, and this is relocating the original mountings well, further up, and when I come to reshape the front arches, fenders, and flare them out, I'll adjust all this to realign with that and that and that, and bring that back out again, because I want to bulge these out a little bit to give it, you know, the sort of wide body treatment. I've got a sort of couple of scallops going on here, and I'm not sure whether to keep this sort of flat side like that, or on this side I was troughing in a little bit more under there and thought maybe I could give a bit more, but I don't know. At the moment it's still thinking on my feet, and it's quite easy to change at this stage, a few little ideas, and then go with what you feel, you know, and it's all fantasy football league, do whatever you like. But it's I want to get a third one of these, really. Still an interesting model. Working on the front spoiler for it. This is a trimmed down front grille, and then I'm sort of building a sort of lower spoiler thing for it. Yeah, so that will go on to this blue one is actually from this earlier body, and it doesn't particularly fit this one, which is the later body, very well. This is slightly further pinched at the bottom, but now I've done that much to it, I'm going to work it in anyway. The front grille, the sides are trimmed down a little bit to fit that into the housing of the NASCAR thing, but it's all sort of, you know, all going to go well and fitted in. I've also added a couple of plates there on the real car. They go to support the front panel and the headlamp, so I started working them in because I thought it might be helpful with realignment of this nose anyway. I had to have a laugh. I was squirting some paint at this Mustang, mainly because I thought, well, maybe such a big car that the chassis swap to do would be this 73 Mustang. But then I compared body wheelbases, and the body wheelbases were totally the same. So I thought, oh well, I'll just do the paint experiment I wanted to do, and that's coming along nice. And I've just popped the body in earlier today and discovered the wheelbase on this is worse than the bloody Cobra. This touches the back of there and the front of there. Bonus, bonus. Sake. I thought I could merrily spray something and it'll trundle along. I haven't heard anybody say, well, the wheels don't fit on this either. Anyway, what deep joy. Wonderful models these, anyway. There will be further updates on these. I don't even know with that wheelbase whether that actually will fit into one of these. I haven't done that swap yet. It might actually be the one to swap with. It'll fit the Cobra better than it does the kit it's made for. Anyway, best wishes from jolly old England. Bye.